All right, guys. Welcome back to the Matt Denian trilogy.
Huzzah!
Uh, I think you're worthy of a huzzah.
Thank you.
Um, so we're here with Sports Monsters, and here we are at last, the Stanley Cup Finals, which I was kind of hoping we'd go to Game 7, but hey, Florida wins. It's like the 6-year reign of Florida has continued.
Yeah, the cup just does not want to leave your state, Tyler. What do you guys got going on down here?
Well, look, man, I live in Florida. I take what victories I can get.
Well, you're certainly getting enough Stanley Cups, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that crazy though? Of all places, Florida is now a hockey state with 6 times going to the Stanley Cup and 4 of those 6 times getting the cup. That's like an 80% win ratio.
Yeah. Well, it's an excellent example of a in-division rival having to compete with the team at the top. So in this instance, as you well know, the Bolts were really one of the best teams in hockey quite a few years ago, and the Panthers started building themselves up to compete with the Bolts. And now the Panthers are the top dog by a pretty sizable margin, it would appear at this point, compared to most other teams.
Yeah. And I don't, and like, depending on how their cap situation is this year, they could go for another year.
Yeah, they could. I think Sam Bennett's the only one they have to go and resign, but I'm pretty sure he's going to take a hometown discount, don't you think?
Yeah. Say, how long is Marchand's? I forgot. Like the name got away from me. Marchand's contract.
Good question. I think it was up this year because there's like some thought about him going right back to Boston, but he might darn well stay there now too, right? I mean, why wouldn't he?
I would have to imagine they would offer him an extension.
Yeah, after the way he played, he's been the best acquisition at the trade deadline. And can you think of anybody who's been better in the past 20 years?
Yeah. I like again. Like Draisaitl, I imagine is probably going to be offered like some contract restructure. But Marchand is probably going to like. Why would you want to go back to Boston?
At this point, I don't know. Like, I mean, he's a hero of Boston. He's got nothing left to prove there. Despite the logic about how difficult it is to get to the Stanley Cup again, I don't really see any team in the East or really even the West challenging Florida. I mean, because Edmonton was clearly the beast of the West, you know, and they had 4 really good games against the Panthers, right? Like, their first 4 games of the series were shaping up to make this maybe the best Stanley Cup Finals ever. Where we had 3 overtimes, right, in the first 4 games?
Yeah, 3 out of 4 of the first games were overtimes. And I will say that this is definitely, like, if I was to grade this series, I'd give it a solid A.
Yeah, I would too. I would say it's the best, with the exception of last year's series, which was phenomenal with the same 2 teams. The best in a long time that we've seen, because it was very well balanced early. What we got to is Florida just took Game 5 and Game 6 by the reins and drove Edmonton into the ground. So I know Edmonton were a combination of things. Maybe Edmonton started to run out of gas and Florida really upped their game. Like, I don't want to take anything away from Florida. In particular, let's be honest, they really kept Connor McDavid in check.
Yeah, I was like, how they managed to box him in repeatedly. I was like, God, they just dogged McDavid all night. And I think when they figured out like how to like once you take out once you kind of like box out McDavid, the whole Edmonton dam falls apart.
Right, Draisaitl's great, but it's a lot of McDavid feeding him too. To be honest. So yeah, and you saw that in particular in games 5 and 6, where it was like, all right, we are just going to basically surround McDavid, and that was kind of it, right?
Yeah.
And of course, Corey Perry, which is 5 straight Stanley Cup losses for him or something like that.
That man, Perry, like, he'll get you to the playoffs. He didn't say anything about winning the playoffs.
No.
do you think they're going to cut Perry after this with Edmonton? Because like after his performance, Draisaitl I think they're going to keep. But if
they just re-signed Draisaitl.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I forgot.
McDavid, you think they're going to keep, right? Like I'd be shocked if they let McDavid go.
That would be stupid if they did. Perry can go. He really did nothing in this series. Like, honest question, did he do anything of note in this entire 6 games? Honest to God question, Matt.
No, he was invisible, I felt like.
I forgot he was there. I was watching a urinating tree video and mentioned Perry, and I was like, Perry was on the fucking Edmonton Oilers?
Yeah. I would say the other big disappointment was the Edmonton goaltending.
Yeah, Edmonton the goaltending fell apart, which is so weird because they were like an iron wall throughout the entire playoff series.
Yeah, they were really good. They were. And then, again, it could just be because the Panthers are that good. Like, I don't want to take away from the Panthers.
Yeah. The fact that they basically did what no other hockey rematch team has done, which is keep the cup from the guy you just beat.
Yes.
Yeah. It definitely says something about this team, and it could probably this series could these guys could be like the Canadiens or the Red Wings of the 60s and 70s.
They definitely could, which is a lot harder to do in today's salary capped NHL, but they've got the pieces there. As a Flyers fan, we constantly want to go kick our former GMs in the nuts for trading Sergei Bobrovsky away from us because, he's just been nothing but phenomenal since we got rid of him.
Hey, by the way, Matt, is when I'm told to trust the process, does the process mean the other teams get better?
Definitely here in Philadelphia, especially with the Sixers. Like, listen, if one day you want to do like a sports monsters on the terrible process here in Philadelphia, I will be more than happy to break it down for you. But hey, we got the Eagles.
Yeah, I was about to say, at least it's unfortunate Howie Roseman can't overlord over all, be like the emperor of GMs and just overlord all teams in Philly.
There's a petition going around.
I'm surprised you haven't Philly hasn't made a statue or an effigy in Howie Roseman's honor.
There will be, because the Eagles here are like the Maple Leafs in Toronto, where every other team is loved but the second banana. So, we'll see. But yeah, in this case, the Florida definitely has the template too for how to be successful in the playoffs. Gritty players, defensively responsible players, players who can rise to the occasion. I mean, we both said it when they picked up Brad Marchand. Like, damn, Marchand and Matt Tkachuk on the same team is going to be a handful for anybody, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. When they picked them up, it was just like, you have now created a 3-headed monster.
Right, and they still have Reinhardt, and you still have Bennett, right? Like, go down the other players that they still
have. Yeah. They have that, and on top of that, they've got a young core behind them as well.
Yeah, they're not old men.
Yeah.
They're not. Barkov isn't old either. Barkov is a very underrated player, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think also, and I'll tell you where in Game 5 it fell apart for the Oilers. The moment they put the foot off the gas after nearly making the Panthers choke that series.
Yes, I totally agree with that. I thought that they had them, and then they couldn't close it out. And from there, Florida was just like, "We've got this."
Yeah.
And we ran with it.
Yeah. The other major thing that I think is really cool that it had a hot start. This game series had a hot start, but I think Game 5 just broke the Edmonton.
We definitely did. Florida, like you said, they kind of figured out how to run like a trap on McDavid, and when Edmonton couldn't figure out how to get through that, they were cooked. I mean, they were really cooked. And it was a shame because it looked like this year the rest of the supporting cast was picking up. McDavid did really well in the first 3 rounds of the finals, for sure. And Draisaitl was always Draisaitl. But you were getting contributions from other players until kind of you got to game, I'd even say like game 3, right? And then like the rest of the Oilers stopped doing anything, and that's when the Panthers just curb stomped them.
Yeah, I think game 5 broke them, and game 6 it was like they it almost was like the Panthers like got in the locker room and said, we're not going to game 7. Like this is we're ending them right here. And they just I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you finish. I'm sorry. Finish.
Like they just Bane broke them in game 5.
They really did. They really did. So what I was going to say to you is, as we looked at in particular other teams that played the Panthers going through the playoffs, the Lightning Bulls, the Lightning and the Leafs come to mind, where it was like, man, those two teams like really didn't show up to the point that we thought they would. Is that the case, or is it just that Florida's this good?
I think Florida is just this good. I think their drafting has been well. I think also they've been good with free agency signings. I think on top of that, they have just been... I think this is like a proper rebuild. Like it's just been... I think it's been an absolute proper, absolute stunner of a rebuild. And I really also think that I think just the hockey league in general, outside of like maybe a few people here, teams here and there isn't really anyone that can challenge them. Florida is an aging core, and now they've given up 2 first-round picks, and that's going to set us back. Thanks,
Yeah, the Leafs are likely going to lose Marner, right?
Yeah, Marner's gone. Like I have no doubt he's going to be gone in the offseason. I cannot for the life of me trust Toronto, and Toronto's going to go in a rebuild. We all know it.
Yeah. The Caves clearly don't have the talent to go toe-to-toe with Florida.
Now, I will say that, I will say that I feel like the Canadiens might be building to something, and same with Ottawa, but I don't think they could handle Florida. I think they, Montreal and Ottawa are in the right direction for rebuilds.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, too, I'd love to see Brady Tkachuk and Matt Tkachuk go head-to-head in the playoff series. Like, they're going to fight each other, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Capitals, the Capitals, it's a hard one, but it's going to be cool to see Ovechkin. Hopefully, Ovi can go into a deep playoff run at least.
Yeah, but he's just getting older. But he still put up the numbers. It's not like he's looking like he's slowed down a whole lot.
Yeah, I hope his last ride is a fun one.
Yeah, but even out west, considering Edmonton kind of crushed everybody else, do you see anyone else who could challenge the Panthers? Dallas didn't look like they were close to Edmonton.
Yeah. Vegas, we thought was going to be a shiner, and that one, nope, Edmonton just obliterated them. Yeah, I don't see anyone outside of the only teams that could take them are Edmonton. I can't put any faith in Toronto. Yeah, the Panthers, for the most part, for right now, they are the dominant force, at least for another year or two.
They are, and it's almost like the pendulum swung back with them to 1970s hockey. Again, so here in Philadelphia, despite it's before even I was freaking born, people still love the Broad Street Bullies, and that's what Florida looks like when they play. They're just beating the tar out of the other teams, playing tough defense, and getting opportunistic goals with tremendous goaltending.
Yeah, and oh, sorry.
Right. No, so they have very good players, but you don't look at Florida and say that guy's a MVP candidate, right? They just have a very good team.
Yeah, it's just a well-constructed team. The only thing that's holding it back is player salary. That's I don't know how it's going to go in the cap situation, because I've seen the cap. They are in the red, but they're not the lowest, and it makes me wonder how they're going to how much money are they going to put in for re-signing, and how much are they going to put in stock for free agency?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Sam Bennett's a free agent. Although I feel like Sam Bennett could get based on what he's done in the playoffs, $10 million on the open market, maybe more like 8 to stay in Florida, and I think he would take that discount. But is Bennett really as good as he's looked if he's in another team in another system, where he's got to be the 1C instead of like lower down the pecking order?
I'm not going to call Bennett a team rider, but he does benefit from this system.
Right. Like if he was to go to Ottawa, for instance, is he turning them around? Are they a contender all of a sudden now?
Yeah, I think he would definitely be a boost, but not by much. I think he would definitely be like kind of a veteran kind of support player in that system. But
is he the type of player Toronto should look to get?
Toronto should just look at pulling everything down right now.
And then building. Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
I can't, like, every time I think of Toronto, I just think of how bad they shit the bed consistently. And it feels like they're headed for a full-on rebuild. And they don't have the money to get anyone major.
No, they really don't. That's true. So, sorry, I don't mean to sidetrack on the Maple Leafs again. But,
yeah, it's okay. I'm pretty sure, like, the Maple Leafs get sidetracked on rebuilds, because now they're facing down the barrel of it, and they have very little draft picks. The contracts are coming up. You basically should have done this last year.
Yeah. But in the Panthers' case, a three-peat is definitely not out of the question.
Yeah, I definitely could see them going for at least 1 or 2 more years.
At this point, I think it's going to take a young team, like you said, like a Montreal coming up, right? I don't see any other team that's close adding pieces to get by them.
Yeah. Like, Canadiens aren't there yet. Maybe they could make a big push this year. I think they've been in rebuilding in the right way. Ottawa, they're not there yet, but I think they're getting there. But really, there's no one I can think of that, and the only thing that could get in their own way is them.
I agree with you. I really do. They're a juggernaut right now.
Yeah.
Dallas, if they can retool,
maybe Dallas. Maybe Dallas, if they can, like, again, high-end talent, and also they have some contracts coming up that I don't know if they could pay.
Yeah, and it also looks like nobody else in the West can get past Edmonton. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton makes it back again next year. If anything, they're the team that might be able to add a piece to get past Florida, but it doesn't. I don't know where they do, because, like you said, they have a Connor McDavid with the biggest contract in history looming very soon. I think it's at the end of next year. So, yeah, they can't just go out and splurge, can they? Like,
no, they can't afford to.
So yeah, like I agree. I think Florida is going to dominate. They could go as much as 5 in a row before they start getting their own way with contracts and age finally catching up to them.
Yeah, this could be like a major dynasty for a good 2-3 more years.
Yeah, it really could. It really could.
Yeah.
And they play tremendous hockey. I don't want to take anything away from. They're really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to like it. And I know we're making it sound like they shit-wrecked Edmonton. They really didn't for a hot minute. It was back and forth those first 4 games.
The first 4 games are very close, and then great teams like they do make adjustments, and Florida made the proper adjustments, and Edmonton wasn't able to match it.
Yeah. Like I said, Game 5 just broke them. And rather than try to let them adjust, they were just like, no, we're going for the kill.
Yeah, the mark of a truly good team is when you know what they're going to do, and there's just nothing you can do to stop them.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder if Indiana is going to do that tonight against the Thunder.
I do wonder. We're going to review that series, too. Because that's been... part of me loves that series because it's like kind of a middle finger to the NBA, like giving them 2 small market teams without players that they've promoted a ton, even though one competing players and creating MVP. But you know what? It irks the NBA that it wasn't Boston, it wasn't LA. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and it's fun to watch ESPN eat shit.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. I don't know if it's going to end tonight because, again, unless Oklahoma just decides we're done fucking around and want to put this away tonight at Game 6. Let's see if Indiana adjusts. I know they're dealing with injuries, but we'll see.
Yep. So I guess this will be the last we do for hockey unless we're covering the draft.
I don't know. I do part of me is like maybe, but we'll see. That one I'm like, I haven't really paid attention to a lot this year. I haven't paid attention to a lot of the draft candidates.
Oh yeah, because your team made the playoffs, so why would you? Yeah.
At least my team made the playoffs, Matt.
Yeah, that's true. I've been locked into the draft for quite a few months now. But since you and I, we both love hockey, right?
Yeah.
We do have the Olympics coming up, which if the Four Nations was any kind of prelude, the Olympics should be fantastic next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably talk about football when we get closer to it. I do want to do like a top 10 like NFL teams for this year, before the season starts.
Yeah, I'm in for that. And anytime you want to do baseball, we can too. For me, though, it really heats up after the All-Star break, baseball,
Yeah, I think after the All-Star, and also like I wish they'd do the Field of Dreams game again. That was really fun.
Yeah. On a quick side note, I think this summer my brother and I are making a pilgrimage up to Cooperstown, so I might just call you in with a review of that, because I've been dying to see that my entire life. So.
Okay. All right. Well, to any hockey fans out there, let us know what you guys thought of this hockey playoff series. And, the next video you see from us will be the NBA championship.
Yep. Good to talk to you, Tyler.
Yep. And always a pleasure to do these. I know these don't get a lot of views, but we enjoyed talking about them. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's fun. I think it'll build slowly as we go. I don't know how much carryover there is from the comic book kaiju group into the NHL so far, since we've just done NHL. So maybe around to like football, we'll see like more views go up.
Yeah. Anyway, just comment below, let us know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.